which is going to be a little different this year. Pretty much it's me going to the fridge and treating. So that's about what's going to happen. So I'm VALERIE ROCHON, President and Chief Collaborator of the Chamber Collaborative of Greater Portsmouth. We also have Ben Van Camp and Jen Stevens from our staff on the call to help out. Ben is actually driving the Zoom today, as always. Welcome to you all. We do have a little bit of housekeeping. You'll all be on mute, so please use the chat function to ask questions. Ben is monitoring that. If we get hijacked, Ben will close the meeting immediately and we will reschedule. And you should know that all Chamber Chat Live events are recorded and will be posted on our website and our social media next week when Ben can upload them. So today we are welcoming my friends and my colleagues and our great team of chamber presidents of the 6 Seacoast Chambers, all of whom are members of the Seacoast Chamber Alliance. And I'm very thankful that they've all made the time to be here. Well, we do have one who's on vacation, Allison from Somersworth in the Falls Chamber. And John Nyhan will join us very shortly from Hampton. He had another place to be for a little while, but we do have with us Laura Ring from Rochester, Jen Wheeler from Exeter, Margaret Joyce from Dover, and the Portsmouth Chamber is here as well, and then Allison and John. So we're so happy to have them all here to talk about the Seacoast Chamber Alliance's partnership with the BEA, Business and Economic Affairs. Commissioner Caswell and the governor carved out $2 million to provide to chambers across the state because none of the chambers as 501c6s were eligible for any grant funding. So this is not a grant, it's a partnership with deliverables. And so we have, over the last couple of months, defined 6 different initiatives with deliverables that we must complete by December 30th, because that's the deadline for the CARES Act funds to be spent. So each of our chamber execs are going to talk about the initiatives that they're responsible for, and I will introduce them in a few minutes. First, a little bit of chamber news. We had a very successful 37th annual golf tournament a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, at the Breakfast Hill Country Club, and golfers are still golfing. The Breakfast Hill Country Club did a great job of hosting us, as they normally do. Wheelabrator Technologies was our sponsor for that, and we had a great deal of fun. It was a beautiful day. We got lucky, a Chamber of Commerce day. So that was a lot of fun. We're looking forward to planning our holiday fundraiser. It's not going to look the same, but just as we had fun with Stream Life, changing Street Life to Stream Life, we're also going to do something fun with the holiday fundraiser. So stay tuned for that. Yesterday, Ben and team launched a brand new program called Network Express, sponsored by Bank of New Hampshire. It's a speed networking event. So you can hop table to table every 3 minutes to make new connections or reconnect with old friends on the Remo platform. Thank you, Jen Wheeler, for partnering with us on the Remo platform. It's going to be every 2nd and 4th Thursday of the month, so you can all put that in your calendars right next to your 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month for Chamber Chat Live. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and visit our website so that you can find out all this information. And please, when Jen Stevens sends out her source, the source, every week on Wednesdays, it has a lot of great information on what's coming up in the next week. So please open that up and take a look at it. Quick update on the Citizens Response Task Force. The Public Realm Subcommittee is now switching gears to look not only at fall and winter, but next spring and summer. And what are we going to do to keep our businesses open and healthy and economically viable over the next 6 months and into next season, next summer season. Right now we have heaters and blankets out there. You know that the City Council extended the outdoor dining through the end of November for the public realm and somewhat indefinitely for those in private spaces to be outside. You know that the Bridge Street lot has closed up. but they're already talking about next summer what they might be able to do, whether it's on the Bridge Street lot or not. Pop Up New Hampshire is trying to figure out how they can come back full force next year. And the health subcommittee is doing some very important research and education on what to do for air filtration and ventilation, how to work within the guidelines to make all of the indoor spaces as safe as possible. And Ben, if you wouldn't mind throwing up that FAQ link that Stephanie shares with us all the time for the updated FAQs from the health subcommittee so that people can take a look at that. Thank you so much. That's great. So that's a very valuable resource, and I would highly recommend that you take a look at it. The Main Street Relief Fund 2.0 has just been announced. You have until October 30th or 31st. Somebody correct me there. That to file for that. So please check out our website or the city's website for a link for all of that information. Check out our social. You should also be uploading all your jobs, your open positions to our jobs board. Reminder that we are going to hold all questions until we are through with each of the 6 presentations. The presentations will be short. You'll have plenty of time for Q&A afterwards. We're going to start with Laura Ring out of Rochester. Laura has led the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce as president and CEO for over 30 years. I think she wins in the longevity department among the 6 of us. She currently serves on the board of trustees for Frisbee Memorial Hospital. She's a member of the Association of the New Hampshire, New England, and American Chamber of Commerce Executives Associations. She's a member of the BIA and the Rochester Rotary Club and the Rochester Main Street Organization. She's a graduate of the Institute for Organization Management, and she's going to talk to us about B2B Communications, which is her initiative. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Valerie. Nice to see everyone here today. And certainly, we're pleased with the funding that the state is providing so that we have an opportunity to work together and help our businesses, because that's what we're here to do. The business-to-business marketing plan is to provide technical, educational, and navigational support to businesses in the region to ensure that they recover successfully through this pandemic that we're experiencing. We're providing additional marketing services to mitigate the negative impact on COVID in their business. We're working on marketing and messaging regarding safety measures in the workplace. And with that, we're doing some posters that could be downloaded from the Seacoast landing page once that is developed. That's something that the Falls Chamber is working on. So workplace safety posters, masking, social distancing, testing sites that are on the Seacoast, and more as things develop. Certainly when the vaccine may get here and starts to be distributed and available to the public, we'll want to be getting some messaging out about that as well. We're also helping to put together some self-attestation forms that businesses could use if they don't have any. For instance, if they, for their employees in their own businesses, or for their customers and vendors as they come into their business. We're also working to connect businesses with various funding information as things keep developing, like Valerie just mentioned, the Main Street 2.0 that's now available, education, PPE resources. One of the things that we're doing right now is we developed a questionnaire that we're getting out there to our own members, and the other chambers will be helping with that as well, to find out if everyone does have enough PPE. And I know what we're finding right now, it seems that a lot do, but if not, and if there's resources that are needed, then we will work to try and find those and get those to you. We're also developing or working with others like the Small Business Development Center on putting together some various webinars to help with recovery, whether it's funding or marketing, but various programs that may even have some discounts and savings that can be passed on to businesses. We're looking into some of those right now to bring to you. We're also here going to be working on various communications, so that we can provide information to businesses as things come about. And again, a lot of that will be found on the Seacoast landing page. I have all my great fellow chamber execs here to assist. We're all working with each other on our various projects. And I have a great team here at the chamber that includes Kaylin Bamford and Tanya Hervey to work with me on getting some of these items done. So more to come, soon. And again, thank you.
Thanks, Laura. There's an awful lot to communicate, all of the work that we do regularly as chambers, and certainly what we're doing as the Seacoast Chamber Alliance. There's an awful lot of information to share with you, and Laura's going to get that all organized for us and put it up on that website and get it out to us as well. So really appreciate the work that you're doing there, Laura. Thank you. Next up is Margaret Joyce, and she's president of the Greater Dover Chamber of Commerce. She has 25 years of experience working across several New Hampshire state divisions, including economic development, travel and tourism, and emergency services and communications. She's also worked with the New Hampshire Travel Council, which is where I first met Margaret, the New Hampshire Lodging and Restaurant Association, and Co-Brown Northwood Academy. Margaret currently serves on the Coast Board of Directors. Thank you very much for that. We know transportation is a big issue with our workforce. She earned her bachelor's in journalism from BU, and she studied public administration at UNH. She resides in Nottingham with her family, and she's responsible for the Workforce Development Initiative, which we know was a big initiative before COVID and certainly is even more so now. Thank you, Margaret, for being here.
Thanks, Val. Thanks for having me. So as Val mentioned, the sort of bucket or program area that I'm focusing on is workforce development. And my initiative is going to be a series of 3 events centered around that issue. But the goal is really to develop a pipeline of workers to meet business demand, maximize the skill levels and confidence of our existing workforce. And obviously the ultimate goal is to grow and sustain healthy economies throughout the Seacoast region. So as we know, unemployment has always been an issue in the state of New Hampshire and on the Seacoast, where it's sort of a blessing and a curse. We have very low unemployment, which is great for our workforce, but it makes it hard to attract businesses to the state and to the Seacoast because their concern is there an available labor pool? So since the pandemic hit, we did see that spike in unemployment, and it has come down a little bit. But what we're also seeing is that there are people who now want to transition into maybe a different line of work. And that's an area where we can help, as well as help businesses fill vacancies that they now have. I'm pleased to see Dawn and Sean from Great Bay Community College on the call, because they will certainly be strong partners with us in this effort through the Work Ready program and some of the other work that they do. So basically my program boils down into 3 events, the first of which is coming up very quickly. We are going to be working on the annual, it's a housing summit, if you will. It's more of a discussion. We're working with the Workforce Housing Coalition of the Greater Seacoast. Some of you might be familiar with that organization. It's going to take place on Friday, November 6th. Each of the chambers is working on getting the word out to our members. So hopefully if it's something that interests you, you can attend. It is free to attend. It is going to be virtual via Zoom, but we have some strong panelists who will talk about the region's housing situation. The theme this year is the future of housing. And before the pandemic hit, Sarah Reitzman, who's the executive director of the coalition, had wanted to focus on young people and the issues that they're facing. But now we've sort of switched a bit. The future of housing is going to be through the lens of what's happening with COVID, people who are struggling to find housing. And again, it affects employers because they need to know that if they're attracting employees to come work for them, that they are going to be able to find adequate housing for their needs. So that's the first event, Friday, November 6th. You can find information on our website, or again, each of the chambers will be sending information out to you as well. The second event is a virtual job fair, and we're partnering with the state's New Hampshire Employment Security Department to bring that to you. They're organizing these throughout the state. They're tapped into people looking for jobs, as is Dawn with her Work Ready program. And the chambers are obviously tapped into businesses who are looking for people to work for them. So it's a nice partnership. So that's going to be taking place on November 17th. And the link is open. Again, the chambers will be getting information out to you so that if you do have jobs that you need to fill, you can register as a participant, as an employer on that event. Again, free to attend, both for job seekers and for employers who are looking to fill positions. The third event is called an employability forum. And employability is a concept that we've actually been toying with here and talking about at the Dover Chamber. We have a business and education partnership committee that meets regularly, and we put on a series of events. So employability is, the concept is a person's ability to gain employment, maintain employment, and obtain new employment if required. And it requires possessing a set of skills, knowledge, understanding, and personal attributes. So we plan to work very closely again with Work Ready on this, because that's an area they focus in. Something as basic as maybe helping people, generate a resume, how to act in an interview. And this year we'll be focusing on, it's a whole new, there's no more in-place interviews. A lot of these interviews are taking place via Zoom or other similar platforms. So helping people navigate this new world where we're operating in, but also help them with those basic skills. We also want to educate employers as to what this means. What are we talking about when we talk about employability? And it will also help provide feedback to high schools, colleges, how to prepare people to enter the workforce. So it's a pretty broad event. Again, free to attend. I don't have an exact date for that yet. It's going to be at the beginning of December. So please stay tuned for more information on that. And that's all I have, Val.
Valerie, you're muted.
I am muted. Thank you. I just saw that. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. That was an awful lot. And you said that's all you have, but that's an awful lot that you have going on. And it's going to be so valuable, because workforce obviously is a critical issue for us, as it has been, as you mentioned, it has been for a long time now. So even more of a crisis for us now. So thank you so much for all the good work that you're doing on that. Jen Wheeler is up next from Exeter, but I'm just going to welcome John Nyhan from Hampton, who has now joined us. John, you're going to be up after Jen. So I'm going to introduce Jen and then get ready. Jen Wheeler is president of the Exeter Area Chamber and previously served as the executive director of Leadership Seacoast. Many of you know Jen pretty well. She was deputy director and vice president with New Futures, and she's also worked with the New Hampshire chapter of the American Cancer Society. Jen also worked in Atlanta with the CDC, which I didn't know that, Jen, and that's a discussion for another day. I'd love to hear more about that, because clearly we're hearing more about the CDC a lot at the moment. Jen earned a BA in psychology from Ithaca College and a master's in public health in behavioral sciences and health education from the Rollins School of Public Health at Emory University in Atlanta. She's a graduate of Leadership New Hampshire, of course, and she was named one of New Hampshire's 40 under 40 by the union leader. She served on several state and local boards of directors, and she's going to tell us about her Seacoast Safe initiative. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Valerie. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for organizing this conversation and giving us an opportunity to share about these initiatives. It's a highlight to be able to work with my Seacoast colleagues, and the project that Exeter is taking the lead on for the Seacoast is called Seacoast Safe. The goal of Seacoast Safe is to support businesses in the Seacoast and increase consumer confidence. So the focus is really on marketing to define specific COVID-related safety measures for businesses and visitors to engage in commerce in the region. So the program will be or the program will let us help businesses tell customers, visitors, and community that businesses are doing their part to keep the Seacoast safe, healthy, and open. So there's really two pieces to it. The first is to encourage and support businesses in the Seacoast to adopt and follow safe operating protocols and to publicize that. And this is where there's a lot of overlap between this initiative and Laura's business-to-business communication initiative, and as well as the Seacoast landing page, because the other piece of this project is to encourage consumers to follow safety guidelines, but also to allow us to market to consumers in the community those businesses that are safe, so that people know that when they go into certain places that business is doing all the things that they're asked to do to keep open and to keep everybody safe. So, again, the goal is to really just support businesses with what they need, give them the tools and the resources they can to stay open, and to communicate that to communities and consumers so that they know where to go. This piece will live on the Seacoast landing page that Allison from the Falls Chamber is working on, that I think Valerie is going to talk about in a minute. And so that website will house, if you will, Seacoast Safe. That will have, again, two pieces to it. One geared towards businesses with resources and toolkits and a place to sign up and take whatever kind of pledge that is part of the components of that. And then the other piece of the Seacoast Safe would be a list of all the businesses that are participating. The hope is that we get, as many businesses as we can on there, because again, it sends the message to the Seacoast as well as other parts of the state and the region that the Seacoast is ready, safe, and open, and that's the goal. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm looking forward to this project and how it interacts with the other initiatives that the Seacoast Chamber Alliance is working on.
Thanks very much, Jen. I think the messaging that Jen is preparing, that is both inward facing and outward facing, meaning it's B2B and it's consumer, because we're all in this together. We keep saying that, and I know it's becoming a cliche, but the bottom line is it is all in this together. And we need to have an expectation of what we as businesses expect and what our consumers can expect when they visit with us. So it's a very important messaging that Jen's going to be preparing. Thank you, Jen. As I said, John has arrived from Hampton. He's been the president of the Hampton Area Chamber of Commerce since 2017, prior to which he came from the corporate human resources world, working with both domestic and international employers. He also led the nonprofit group, the Experience Hampton, and chaired the Hampton Beach Area Commission. He was also the chair of the Hampton Seafood Festival, which is still the major event put on by the Hampton Chamber and their partners. He's a 19-year member of the Hampton Rotary. He serves on the State Park System Advisory Council and recently served on the Governor's Task Force in an advisory capacity to the Gopher Group, responsible for the distribution in New Hampshire of CARES Act funding. His initiative deals with economic recovery, and John is going to explain how he expects to help out many of our small businesses in particular. John.
Thank you, Val, and hello to our good, hard-working team and to those that are listening here today. First of all, just to share a very quick story. One of the things that Val left out on my introduction is that back in the 60s, I was a long-haired hippie, and I graduated with a social work degree, thinking that I was just going to help everybody in the world. And lo and behold, now as I look at my last career job as the president of the chamber, I go back to that concept of wanting to help people. And I think the chamber world especially in our Seacoast area, is a great group of organizations that really have one thing in mind, and that is to help. How can we help folks? How can we help our members? And as we saw through this pandemic, how can we help the community? So I'm privileged to be part of this collaborative, this Seacoast Alliance. And my job, entitled Seacoast Economic Recovery Program, even though that it's my initiative, I have to be honest and say that it's every chamber's that is in this region, the presidents and staff, it's their initiative too, because we're all working within our individual communities in economic recovery. So that when I speak about what it is, multiply it by 6, because we're all doing this. The objective of this program is to work with both members and non-members, small business owners, in developing both short-term and long-term business recovery plans during the fall, and leading to hopefully long-term economic strategies that will benefit many of the Seacoast businesses into 21. The strategy is simple. It's threefold. First is we need to, and we have been establishing an assessment plan of businesses that need to stay alive. Those that are at risk, we need to find immediate assistance to recover from COVID-19. And then in coordination with business owners, establish work plans that would include identifying specific guidance and financial resources at the regional, state, and federal level that will help them. I can tell you that every day, each of our chambers gets numerous calls from our business owners, our members, and even some non-members saying, I need help. How can you help me? So this program, this initiative is really focused on answering that question. The second strategy is that we do know that there are some companies out there that are struggling, but they're open. But they need help in either looking at business relocation for whatever financial reasons they might be in, or business expansion in some cases. They're also needing help in workforce recruiting and training. And that's where we're working very, very closely with Margaret in terms of looking at how we can staff our business companies. How can we help them staff? How do we come up with creative in-box, out-of-box ideas of getting people to work for these business owners? And then third, they might be doing okay, but they could benefit from some operational and financial counseling. So we're tying in a variety of different resources. SBA for one, BEA as another, a variety of different experts that can reach out to these business owners. I'm not an expert in a lot of areas, but I do know how to facilitate and I do know how to coordinate. And so that's part of my job, and that's also the job of the presidents on this call today. We're fielding calls each day. I need help. Can you tell me who I should talk to? And that's what we're doing. I think the other thing too is that we have to look towards the future. With a number of our initiatives here in the Seacoast, and I know initiatives that are taking place all around the state, is that we're trying to entice people to move to New Hampshire. I was going to say Hampton, to New Hampshire, and to because we all know that New Hampshire, compared to other states around the country, is a safe place to live and work. So I think it's important that we also prepare ourselves to work with economic development organizations and to be there to assist them if they have companies, employers that are looking to relocate to New Hampshire and be at the Seacoast. So we're going to prepare ourselves to be able to be that vehicle of information to that business owner who has 100 employees are looking to relocate to New Hampshire. So those are our 3 strategies under the Economic Recovery Program. I think it's important that we truly focus on true small businesses. Although that large companies are having difficult times, I think this emphasis should be on small businesses. And I can tell you that within the first 12 days of us signing this contract with the state, that we have had well over 80 one-on-one individual discussions with our business owners in the Seacoast. Those discussions took place day and night. We're talking about Main Street 2.0. We're talking about recruiting. We're talking about getting some financial help. We're talking about business relocation. So we're already identifying a number of our businesses in each of our communities where we can add to that task list saying, yes, we have helped yet another business. So with that, like everybody else, I'm more than happy to answer any questions when time is appropriate. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John. Glad you were able to get back from your other meeting in time to share that with us. The economic recovery, of course, is exactly what the CARES Act funding is all about. And each of our initiatives assist in all of that, but you're also hitting it head on, which is great. Thank you so much. So normally, I act as the host for this event. This is the first time that I'm actually a panelist. So for the very first time, I'm going to introduce myself and give you a little bit of my bio as well. So you already know that I'm with the Chamber Collaborative of Greater Portsmouth. Prior to moving to New Hampshire, I served as the executive director of the Stowe Area Association up in Vermont, responsible for domestic and international marketing. I currently serve on the boards of the New Hampshire Travel Council, the New Hampshire Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. I'm on the Portsmouth Citizens Response Task Force, and obviously with my colleagues here, the Seacoast Chamber Alliance. And I am privileged to sit on the advisory boards for Great Bay Community College and Granite State College. Also in the educational area for a new program that we started a year ago, Accelerate Women in Hospitality Leadership. And I'm co-founder of the Stowe Weekend of Hope for Cancer Survivors and Their Families, which we just celebrated our 20th anniversary virtually. I'm a graduate of the University of Vermont's Vermont Leadership Institute, and I have my bachelor's in hospitality and tourism management from Northern Vermont University. So more than you ever wanted to know about me, but there it is. I'm responsible for the destination marketing program, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about that. So how are we helping out our hospitality businesses? We, in the entire Seacoast area, of course, we have some of our areas that are a little bit more tourism centric than others, but we all have restaurants, we all have hotels, we all have shops, we all have outdoor activities. And whether we are mostly manufacturing centric or industrial centric or whatever it is, we all have the Seacoast outdoors in this area, and bringing people to this area to help our businesses stay afloat is what we're going to try to do. So our strategy is to include a combination of public relations, some fam tours, social media, radio, television, digital, and print ads, with a call to action to go to our landing page, which we purchased the URL, visit seacoastnh.com. And that's the landing page that Allison is going to be creating for us. She's already well on her way with that. She's actually working with Jonathan Day from Centris Digital on all of the SEO that needs to accompany that, so that we can direct traffic to that page. And then we're also going to collect some data to aggregate and report back to both the state and at the federal level, the CARES Act. Folks who want to know what we're doing with all these funds. So basically, what we need to talk about is we have to be careful with our terminology right now, because we can't say, any of us, anywhere in the world, we are a totally safe destination. We can't say that. because we never know. Right now, Portsmouth has been spiking. We know that there is some, it's coming into the fall, and all of our health officials and our scientists have said we're going to see an uptick in the fall of the pandemic. But that doesn't mean that we are not doing absolutely everything possible within our own spaces to make it safe and comfortable for our visitors. And visitors mean our locals. They mean people in the next town over, people in our 6 areas of our communities, because we all want to get out and about. We all want to do some things that give us a sense of normalcy. And so we will be utilizing the funds that we have, the few funds that we have. One thing that I want to clarify, I think I said at the beginning that Commissioner Caswell and the governor have allocated $2 million. That's for all 7 regions of the state. That's $2 million did not come to the Seacoast Chamber Alliance. We've been approved for $300,000. And so we have divided that up among our initiatives for both for the programs. And that's the funding that we have. So we do have some funding to do some outreach marketing. We're going to be doing that through Martha Sullivan Communications for public relations and SEO with Jonathan Day. We're putting together some video projects, So if any of you have B-roll at all that you can share with us that's Seacoast related, then we'd love to hear from you. There's no sense in recreating the wheel if we already have B-roll in the can, right? We're going to be working with some print for Seacoast Online, Yankee Magazine, radio through iHeartMedia, and television through WMUR. So we have some partners that we're working with to create the video content, but we always are looking for more. So that's what we'll be working on. And we have a great team of Michelle on our staff and Colleen on the Hampton staff. They're from the Hampton Chamber. And then we'll be working on pulling all of that together. Now, I think I did say in the beginning that all of us have to put these programs in place and allocate all of these and spend all of these CARES Act funds by December 30th. So we are all trying very hard to rock and roll and get this all rolled out right now. So know that that's happening. Now, Allison, as I mentioned earlier, is on vacation, and so she's not here to share with us what she's going to be doing with the Seacoast landing page, the visitseacoastnh.com. But I think each of us spoke about what it is that we hope to put on that page and gather together. So it's primarily a landing page. It will have, for instance, for the destination marketing, it will have a link out that says visit to each of the chamber areas. And we'll also, we talked yesterday about getting some e-commerce components set up on that website as well. So yeah, I think it's going to aggregate all of the information that we're trying to share with all of you. So be happy to take questions on that when we open that up in just a moment here. So I think that's it for me. Then can we now open it up for some questions? Do we have any in the chat? Does anybody have any?
Yep, the only question that's come through so far, and you can use the chat to do that, is what is the timing of the destination marketing campaign? So you're probably the best person for that.
Sure. So that starts, so we've already started working on it, but we have to have it all out and done and spent by December 30th. So what we're going to be focusing on are 2 major overlying messages. One is we are still a great area. The entire Seacoast area is still a great area, even in the fall through November and December, to come and enjoy the outdoors. You know, you can still walk through the parks. You can still bicycle. There are still things that you can be doing as long as it's not snowing and sleeting out there. There are still a lot of things that you can be doing outdoors. So enjoy the outdoors in the Seacoast area. There's still lots of places to visit and see. We're also going to be talking about supporting our local businesses. So we are not going to be reaching out to New York. You know, our usual markets are New York City, Boston, Hartford. We're not going to be reaching that far afield. We're going to be talking to our more closer in folks, as I mentioned. When I go to Rochester, I'm a visitor. When the folks from Dover come over to Portsmouth, they're a visitor. So we're going to be reaching out to our local folks around New Hampshire and be watching very carefully. We're replacing ads. If they're digital ads, we can watch them very carefully for where they're located or social media, so that we're not tapping into necessarily the areas that are becoming red because of the pandemic. And so we just have to be very careful with our messaging. But that's the whole idea, is to get people outdoors, keep people outdoors, and support our local communities. Other questions?
No other questions at this time.
Okay, so can we, Jen, do you want to talk about Congressman Pappas on Monday, just to remind us about that?
Thanks for the reminder. So the Seacoast Chamber Alliance will be hosting Congressman Pappas on Monday from 9:30 to 10. He is interested in hearing how businesses and you have been impacted throughout the pandemic, and he'll be sharing about what's happening in Washington. So that's Monday, 9:30 to 10 on Zoom. We had sent a letter to Senators Hassan, Shaheen, and Congressman Pappas talking about the need for funding relief. And as a result of that, his office was interested in hearing from the 6 chambers and our members on what's happening. So it's a great opportunity to have a conversation Monday, 9:30 to 10. You can register and get the link through Exeter's website, exeterarea.org.
I just put
Thanks
it in
for
the
the
chat
reminder.
too, Jen.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Laura, you've also sent out a survey. Can you talk to us about the survey and what you're hearing back from? I know that we shared it as well, so we sent it out. I'm not sure if you heard back from any of our membership, but can you talk a little bit about what you're hearing from?
Sure. Thanks, Valerie. As I mentioned earlier, we're doing a questionnaire to find out from businesses what their needs might be. And we have received in probably about 50 or so replies at this point. One of them is on the PPE and what needs there might be moving forward. Really not anything to report there. Everyone, at least for right now, seems to have adequate PPE available. Not to say that may not change, but at least for right now, that's what we found from the survey. One of the other questions that we had was, are any of the businesses looking for assistance in developing a business recovery plan if they don't have one? So that we did get a few responses on that some businesses could use some help with that. Trying to think some of the other questions that we had on there. Actually, I have that in front of me, thankfully. Let's see. Oh, as far as health screening forms that businesses might need to have in their place of business for when either for their employees each day or for when customers or vendors come to their business. We did have a few that indicated they need those. So as soon as we develop our brand and can put that on those forms, we'll be getting those out to those businesses and anybody else that might need them. Some people have indicated that they've received funding and that has helped them. A number of businesses obviously have made some pivots and changes to their operations that have been going successfully through the pandemic. I think that's a lot of what we're hearing when we talk to our members, is that they've done some great things, very innovative in developing strategies to make their business work. So even some of the restaurants, I mean, certainly through the pandemic, we've had the outdoor dining where they made a lot of those changes as well. But that's pretty much it. It was on adjustments and the recovery plans and any additional resources. But thank you, Val.
Thanks, Laura. Now I see I see a number of people on this Zoom who will become partners and colleagues and resources for all of the initiatives that we're working on. And I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm going to call out a couple of you. I see Brenda Richards from SCORE, who obviously is a big resource for economic recovery, webinars. You know, you cross over all of the initiatives that we're working on now, Brenda. So if there's something that you would like to share, we would be happy to hear from you. And I'm also going to put Sean Clancy on the spot here over at Great Bay Community College, who has always been a fabulous partner with us. And as we talk about school to work, Sean is a great partner. Who else do I see? I saw there are a couple of other people that I saw here. So I see Pat Colopy, who's, you know, we're talking about human resources again, the workforce, and how are we going to find people? How are we going to train people? There you are, Pat. Thank you. You know, Margaret talked about these skill sets and the fact that there are people who have been displaced and their jobs might not be coming back. So, and this is also a SCORE issue. So I guess my point is that we are all so connected in this economic vitality and recovery that we'd be really happy to hear if any of you have something that you want to share with us. Brenda has her hand raised. Brenda, why don't you share something with us?
Sure. Well, just like everyone, SCORE had to pivot. One of our favorite new words. We had an immediate influx of about 70 new clients. So you can well understand how important it is for all of us to be well educated in the new world. So we have worked really hard to refocus all of our workshops. And I would recommend U.S. chambers advise business people to take a look at our schedule of workshops to see if there's anything we're putting out there that would be helpful. It's not just local. If people go to the website, there's workshops available from all over the country. So there's lots of titles that might be really specific to a certain manufacturing or industrialist or small business person. So that would be my advice, is send people to us or send people to our website, and we will energetically do whatever we can to help everyone.
Thank you, Brenda. I have to say that I have reached out to SCORE throughout this pandemic. Since March, I've reached out to the great resources at SCORE for different issues that I've had to learn about. Was never on my wish list of having to learn about the ins and outs of unemployment. And the SCORE resource has been unbelievable for me. So thank you for all the good work that you do. Sean, did I see that you wanted to say something?
Sure, Val. So I spoke earlier this week at the State of the Region event that Jen and her team put on. And really, I'll just pull out some of the highlights, but basically what we're seeing through our workforce development efforts at Great Bay is we're almost back to pre-COVID, where there were open jobs and not enough qualified candidates, right? And that was with whatever 2% unemployment. So we had this big spike, and we're coming back down, and what we're seeing now is open jobs and not enough qualified potential employees. So we're trying to beef up our efforts to help people get into the workforce or change where they are in the workforce. The big difference is that there's so much economic and social disruption that people can't even find their way to, I'm going to say, the work ready classes, which are 100% online, day, night, weekends, anytime you need to take them. And people literally can't get themselves to a place where they can reskill, upskill, pivot, change, and get back to work. And that's, I'm just feeling I'm feeling everybody's vibe here about how do we help employers when these jobs are open, companies are trying to either survive, get back to where they were, or grow, and there literally just aren't enough people to come to work. So it's this weird situation, but that was kind of our message. We are getting calls from, I'll say, larger companies that are restarting either customized training or apprenticeship programs, but we realize we need to be more accessible, and whatever part we can play in connecting people who are ready, willing, and able to go back to work, and be hired by employers that have those positions. I mean, that's the role we've always been in, but we're feeling the criticality of it now.
Thank you, Sean. And I see Dawn's here with us from Work Ready. And I don't know if you want to continue that conversation, Dawn. We've got just a couple of moments here, but we'd love to hear
Yes.
from you.
Yes, thank you, Valerie, and thank you, Sean. Yes, Work Ready New Hampshire is completely online. We are running classes. We're collaborating as a state. So there's no barriers as far as walls, no transportation issues for barriers. People are taking class either on a laptop or on an iPad. We've had a few people do it on their phone. It's not the best, but it is accessible via phone. We are trying to alternate classes between mornings, afternoons, and evenings. And classes are starting pretty much ongoing. So I can send some information, or you can go to our website. We are doing virtual info sessions where people can either drop in or sign up for an info session, come to a session, learn more about the program, and then register for a class. After the first of the year, we will be running, we're looking at Saturday boot camp classes, starting either in January or February, where maybe in 4 weeks, people can get through Work Ready New Hampshire just taking it on Saturdays, recognizing that people are having a hard time getting to our class because if they are homeschooling children or have small children at home to take care of, they can't always do it during the week and alternate with their spouses or significant other schedule to be at work or what have you in their situation. So we're looking at the possibility of weekends as well. And we've also enhanced our night classes so that if somebody is working during the day, somebody else can jump into a night class. Again, they're free of charge. The only requirements are New Hampshire resident 16 plus. So as of January 1st of this year, we reduced the age from 18 years and not a full-time student to 16 years and older. We are also working with the extended learning opportunity programs at the high schools. So now high school kids 16 and over can enroll. Questions? You know, just let me know.
Fantastic. I think Ben's already has also put up the your Work Ready, Great Bay Work Ready up here.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Chat as
Thanks,
well.
Ben.
I did have a question, and
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple people that it applies to, Don and maybe Margaret as well. As we're talking about virtual job fairs and Zoom interviews and online classes, I can't help but think of equity and how those that may need the access to the training the most may not have access to the tools to get to those trainings. What are we doing to help those that may not have a laptop or Wi-Fi at home to access all this?
Good question, and we have investigated that, and some of the local libraries are available for people to go to access some of that. Some of the local colleges may have availability if they if people need it. I don't know, Margaret, do you have other ideas, or Sean?
I was going to say the same thing you did about the libraries. They're a terrific resource. Not only do they have computers that you can reserve to sit there and work, but their librarians are able to help people if you struggle. Even in my small town of Nottingham, not just during the pandemic, but they've always had computers available to people in the community who don't have access to that. They've got quite a few stations. Again, I live in a tiny little town. I know Dover has many more resources, so you can go in and use the library's resources, and they've got pretty good hours, nights, weekends, during the day. So I would push people to your local library as a tremendous resource.
We have looked into other resources for that. It's, in the old days, it was transportation was a barrier. Now it can be some technology. We're trying to be resourceful. As people show up and are interested, if they don't have access, we're just kind of working case by case.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you very much. This is a good discussion to have. It affects every single one of us, every single one of our businesses. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
wonderful to see all of the partners that we have throughout the Seacoast, isn't it? These are all our resources. Look at each other and see, how you do that in Hollywood Squares where you just look at each other, right? So look at all these faces, because these are our resources. Thank you so much. So we're going to wrap up now, and I'm going to thank my colleagues. I know that John came in late, left early because he had to get to a ribbon cutting. So he has left us, but I am thankful for him, and Laura Ring over in Rochester, Jen Wheeler over in Exeter, Margaret Joyce over in Dover. And thank you so much for making the time to be with us today. And I love working with each of you. We're a great team. We've been working together for a long time, and we get along really well. November 13th is our next Chamber Chat Live. We do this the second and fourth Fridays of the month. I suspect we will not have one on the Friday of Thanksgiving weekend, although I'm not sure how many people are going to be traveling, but we'll see. But we're not going to have one on that Friday. But we do have on November 13th, we have the health officer, Kim McNamara, coming back for the third time. She was in the very first Chamber Chat Live that we did when we first started this because of the pandemic, and she's come back once to give us an update. She's coming back on November 13th for an update. You'll definitely want to be here to chat with Kim. So put that in your calendar. Reminder: wear a mask, safe distance, wash your hands, and remember that it takes 11 hugs a day to thrive. And that doesn't mean physical hugs. It means smiles or kind words or doing something special for somebody. So keep giving those hugs, and hopefully we are getting them as well. We usually try to wrap up with a little fun something or other, so you walk away with a smile on a Friday afternoon, right? Jen found for us, and this is great, Jonathan Blakesley. You all know Jonathan. He owns the White Heron. His brother is a well-known local musician, Dan Blakesley, and his Halloween alter ego is Dr. Gasp and the Eeks. They're going to be performing live at the loading dock of 3S Art Space tonight from 6 to 7:15. Don't know if it's sold out, but you should check the 3S Art Space website. But here you get a little glimpse of what Dr. Gasp and the Eeks has for you this evening. So take a look. Have a fabulous Halloween. Stay safe, everybody out there. 11 hugs a day.
The fog he comes calling like a king crab with an iron grip. He's crawling. Don't let his glasses fool you. Spot of his disguise. Let him through or let be you. I think it would be wise. He often hides a raven skull underneath his wing. His watchful glaring eyes will bite and sting. Sirens are blown, searchlights are burning, shutters will be locked, and heads will be turning. Are missing, the power lines are down. Don't walk in the shadow of this lumbering beast. He even makes bread loaves rise without yeast. But soon boil and the flames will make growing. Now he's got the chocolate baker's kettle overflowing. sing, the power lines are down. Volcanic mouth, a dark and seething sound. All the buildings pop and bubble when he comes around. Perhaps my tales of fable, this you'll have to see. Don't your doors are unlock yours, just keep an eye on. Pingree.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Be
Val.
safe out there.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Good to
Thanks,
see you all.
Val.